This is story time today. We're going to read a couple books. First one we're going to read is Gaston. Some pretty flowers in the front. Mrs. Poodle admired her new puppies, Fifi, Fufu, Ooh La La, and Gaston. Would you like to see them again? Fifi, Fufu, Ooh La La, and Gaston. Perfectly precious, aren't they? Mrs. Poodle thought so too. The puppies grew as puppies do. Three were no bigger than teacups. The fourth, however, continued to grow and grow until he was the size of a teapot. So Fifi, Fufu, Ooh La La look like little poodles. But the fourth one, Gaston, looks huge compared to the other ones. Mrs. Poodle took pride in teaching her puppies how to be proper pooches. They were taught to sip, never slobber. Good, well done, very nice, nice try. They were taught to yip and never yap. Yip, 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 rough. Gaston is different. They were taught to walk with grace, never race. Tip-toe, tippy-toe, whoa! The puppies were also taught how to look pretty in pink, nibble their kibble, and ride in style. Whatever the lesson, Gaston always worked the hardest, practiced the longest, and smiled the biggest. Mrs. Poodle was very pleased with all her puppies, Fifi, Fufu, Ooh La La, and Gaston. Spring arrived, and the proud mother was eager to show off her darlings. She took them to the park for the very first stroll in public. There was much to see. Daffodils, ducklings, dogs. These yellow flowers are called daffodils. Oh dear, who do we have here? Rocky, Ricky, Bruno, and Antoinette. Would you like to see them again? Rocky, Ricky, Bruno, and Antoinette. This was more than a little awkward. The mothers sized up their pups, and the pups sized up one another. It seems there's been a terrible mistake, Mrs. Bulldog said, breaking the silence. Oh, yes, Mrs. Poodle agreed sadly. Whatever shall we do? Mrs. Bulldog could not come up with an answer. I guess we'll just let them decide, she replied at last. So here's the mother poodle. And then here's all her little baby puppies, but Gaston looks different. Here's the mother bulldog. Here's all her little bulldog puppies, but look, Antoinette looks different. Gaston looks like a bulldog, and Antoinette looks like a poodle, and they say, oh no, there's been a mix-up. Gaston and Antoinette were young, but even they could see that there had been a mix-up. The two puppies began to circle around and around the group. Gaston walked with grace. Antoinette raced. Gaston yipped. Antoinette yapped. Because they were raised by the other family. And when they finally came to a stop, the puppies had traded places. There. That looked right. It just didn't feel right. So now Gaston is with the bulldogs and Antoinette is with the poodles, and now they all look the same, but they're saying it just doesn't feel right. That evening, Antoinette tried to fit in with her new sisters, but she did not like anything proper or precious or pink. She says, phooey. On the other side of town, Gaston tried to fit in with his new brothers, but he didn't like anything brutish or brawny or brown. He says, ick. Antoinette and Gaston weren't the only ones who were having a hard time adjusting. Look, Mrs. Poodle misses Gaston. Mrs. Bulldog misses Antoinette. The next morning, Mrs. Poodle forgot all about being proper and raced back to the park. Mrs. Bulldog was already there waiting with her Bruley brood. It seems we've made a terrible mistake, she nearly shouted. Oh, yes, Mrs. Poodle agreed happily. This time, Gaston and Antoinette wasted no time trading places. There, that looked right, and it felt right too. So just because Gaston looks different, just because Antoinette looks different from her family, that doesn't matter. They're family. From that day forward, the families met in the park every afternoon to play. Rocky, Ricky, Bruno, and Antoinette taught the poodle puppies a thing or two about being tough. Likewise, Fifi, Fufu, Oolala, and Gaston taught the bulldog puppies a thing or two about being tender. And many years later, when Gaston and Antoinette fell in love and had puppies of their own, they taught them to be whatever they wanted them to be. Oh, such a good story. I really love that book. We're going to read one more, and since we're learning about trees this week, we're going to read A Tree Can Be. A tree can be a place to play, a place to rest, a place to hide, and a place to nest. Oh, I see a dandelion flower. A tree can be a place to swing, a place to fly, a place to climb, and a place to stay dry. I see an acorn. So that tree seed is an acorn. That must be an oak tree. A tree can be a place full of food. The caterpillars eating the leaves, the squirrels eating acorns, the woodpeckers eating bugs. A place full of sound. Look, singing. I think that's a cardinal singing. A place full of life. So look, there's mushrooms growing. Squirrels are gathering acorns for the winter in their home down there. And it changes year round. So look, here's the tree in the springtime, a tree in the summer, a tree in the fall, and a tree in the winter. After winter, we start spring again, and then summer, fall, winter, and then spring, summer, fall, winter. It goes on over and over. And here is an oak tree, and it has a little, shows you where everything is. Here's a leaf, the stem, a bud, a branch, a seed, bark, trunk, and roots. All right, that is it for Tuesday. I will see you guys tomorrow morning for Wednesday's morning meeting.